Bro, I need help with this. My girlfriend left me 4 months ago, said she needed space, said she wasn't happy, said I wasn't giving her what she needed. I didn't chase. I worked on myself, hit the gym, got a promotion. Now, out of nowhere, she's texting me, liking my posts, asking how I'm doing. My friends say, take her back. My gut says something is off. What is actually going on? She left. You didn't beg. You built. And now she's back. And the first thing most men do in this moment is the one thing that destroys everything they just spent 4 months becoming. Let's go through this, all of it, because this moment, the moment she comes back, is one of the most misunderstood situations a man can find himself in. And the decision he makes in the next 2 weeks will shape the next 5 years of his life more than almost anything else. We're going to look at what's actually happening in her head right now. We're going to go through what the internet tells men to do in this situation and tear it apart piece by piece. And then we're going to talk about the 3 types of men who receive this text and what each one does next. One of them gets it right. 2 of them repeat the same mistake on a longer timeline. She left. You didn't fall apart. Now she's texting. Let me tell you exactly what happened. Not the romantic version, the actual version. When she left with a story. That story went something like this. I deserve more. He wasn't enough. Something better is waiting for me. That story is necessary. It's what justified the decision. It's what let her sleep at night. For the first few weeks, the story held. She felt free. She posted more. She went out more. She told her friends she'd never been happier. And then the story started cracking. The new option didn't appear, or it appeared and lasted 6 weeks before it turned hollow. Or she's genuinely alone. And alone is harder than the story promised. And somewhere in that silence, she opened your profile. She saw the promotion. She saw you looking better. She saw a man who didn't collapse. And the story she told herself, I left because he wasn't enough, suddenly didn't fit the evidence anymore. That is the moment she texted you. Not because she loves you, because her story broke. She's not reaching out to reconnect. She's reaching out to recalibrate, to test whether the door is still open, to see if you're still the man she left, soft, available, organized around her, or whether something actually changed. That text is a question, not a confession, and most men answer it wrong. Reason 1, the alternative failed. This is the most common reason. She left. She found what she thought she wanted, and it didn't deliver. The new guy was exciting for 6 weeks. Then real life showed up, and suddenly the stability she walked away from doesn't look like a prison anymore. It looks like something she can't find elsewhere. She's not coming back to you. She's retreating from disappointment. And if you take her back without understanding this, you become the place she lands when the market fails, until the next exciting option appears, and the cycle repeats. Some men call this a second chance. It's not. It's a backup plan, with your name on it. Reason 2, time made her recalculate. She got older. She watched her friends settle down. She hit a birthday that landed harder than expected. The freedom she left for turned out to have a price that wasn't in the brochure. This is a better reason. Something in her thinking genuinely shifted. But shifted toward what? Toward you? Or toward stability? And you happen to be the nearest available source? There is a difference. And that difference is everything. Reason 3, she watched you become someone she didn't expect. She left. You grew. And now she's looking at a man who is genuinely different from the one she walked away from. The attraction is real. The reconsideration is earned. But here's the part nobody says out loud. You cannot tell which of these 3 reasons it is from a text message. You can't tell from a coffee. You might not know for months. And most men stop asking the question the moment she walks back through the door, because the relief of her returning is so enormous, it drowns out every clear thought they might otherwise have. The text is not the answer. The text is the beginning of a test, and most men fail it in the first 24 hours. I went through the comment sections, the Reddit threads, the TikTok advice. Let me show you exactly what men are being told right now. Reddit, relationship advice community. A man posts that his ex reached out after 3 months of silence. He still has feelings. He doesn't know what to do. Top comment. 9,000 upvotes. She already showed you who she is. The door closed the moment she walked out. You deserve someone who chooses you without needing to leave first. And honestly, this isn't wrong. But it's also not complete, because it assumes every return is the same. It collapses the woman who left because the relationship was genuinely broken and came back after real change, into the same category as the woman who left because she got bored and came back because the boredom got worse. Those are not the same situation, and applying the same advice to both helps exactly nobody. But 9,000 people upvoted it because it feels clean, and humans love clean answers to complicated questions. TikTok. A woman posts a video explaining why she went back to her ex. 230,000 likes. She says this: "Girls, sometimes you have to leave to realize what you had. If he's still there when you come back, that's real love." 230,000 likes for a sentence that is essentially a user manual for treating a man like a revolving door. Leave, test the market, return if the market disappoints. And if he waited, that's love. The comment section is full of men calling this beautiful. Men saying this is exactly what happened to them. Men who have just been told that waiting is romantic, that being available is devotion, that the correct response to her leaving is to remain in position until she decides to come back. This is not love. This is a blueprint for being a backup plan. And 230,000 people liked it. Then there's the other side, the men's channels, the comment sections that say, "Never take her back. Once she leaves, she's dead to you. She made her choice." Abundance mindset. Next, I understand where this comes from. It comes from men who took her back, gave everything, and watched it collapse in exactly the same way 6 months later. The rule is a protection mechanism, but a protection mechanism is not a thinking process. It's a wall built by someone who got hurt and decided that walls are safer than judgment. Because sometimes, not always, but sometimes, a woman comes back with something real, and a man who applies the never take her back rule without thinking loses something genuine. Out of stubbornness, dressed up as standards. The internet gives you rules. What this situation requires is judgment, and judgment is harder than rules, which is exactly why most men avoid it. There is a fish, the salmon, that swims upstream, against the current, against everything pushing it back. And it does this not because the current changed, but because the salmon changed. It decided. Most men in relationships are not salmon. They're leaves. The current takes them where it goes. She leaves, they drift. She comes back. They drift back. Not because they decided, because the current shifted, and they moved with it. The leaf doesn't suffer. The leaf doesn't struggle. The leaf just goes wherever the water goes. And when the water brings it back to where it started, the leaf thinks it chose to return. It didn't choose anything. It just floated. The man who grew in those 4 months, who hit the gym, got the promotion, didn't collapse. He became the salmon. He moved against the current when everything was pulling him down. And now the current is pulling him back toward her. The question is not whether to go. The question is whether he's paddling or floating. Because the current feels like direction. It feels like things are finally moving again. But a leaf moving with the current and a salmon swimming upstream are not the same thing. One of them chose. The other one just floated. Type 1. The man who was waiting the whole time. He told his friends he was moving on. He maybe went on a date or two. But internally, in the place he doesn't show anyone, he never left. He kept notifications on for her profile. He rehearsed conversations in his head at 2 a.m. He kept her contact saved. When the text came, his hands shook. And now he's going to do what he always does. Say yes, immediately, without questions, without pausing long enough to ask what actually changed. Because 4 months of tension releases in one moment, and that release feels exactly like love. It is not love. It is relief. And relief has destroyed more relationships than dishonesty ever has. He takes her back. 2 weeks of intensity, then real life, then the same dynamic, the same distance, the same reasons she left, because he spent 4 months waiting instead of changing. And in another 4 months, he'll be writing the same message to someone like me. Different timestamp, same story. Type 2. The man who decided she no longer exists. When she left, something in him shut down immediately. He deleted her number, removed her from everything, told his friends not to mention her name. He rebuilt with a completeness that looked like strength. And in some ways, it was strength. He protected himself. He didn't spend 4 months bleeding out slowly, but there is something underneath that completeness that he won't look at. The thoroughness of the shutdown, the zero contact, the immediate deletion, the refusal to acknowledge she existed, that is not indifference. Indifference doesn't need to be that thorough. Indifference just doesn't care. This man cared enormously, and he built a very clean wall around it. When the text came, he didn't reply. On principle, the book is closed. And maybe, for his specific situation, that's right. But maybe he's also using a rule to avoid a feeling. Maybe never take her back exists not because he examined the situation and decided, but because examining the situation is the one thing he cannot do without the wall coming down. He calls it standards. Sometimes it is standards. Sometimes it's just a man who got hurt and learned to call his avoidance by a better name. Type 3. The man who is actually thinking. He got the text. He felt something. Of course, he's not a wall, and he's not a leaf, but he didn't respond immediately. Not to play games, because he needed to think. He asked himself one question: what do I actually know right now? He knows she reached out. He knows 4 months passed. He knows he changed. He knows she might have changed too. He knows the difference between those two things is the only thing that matters in this decision. So he responded, not immediately, not a week later, when he was ready. Something simple, warm, but not eager, present, but not available. And then he watched. Not her Instagram, her behavior. Does she acknowledge what happened? Or does she talk about the breakup like a weather event that nobody caused? Does she take any responsibility for leaving? Or does she reframe it as something that just mutually occurred? Is she curious about who he became? Or does she relate to him like the clock stopped 4 months ago? Her words tell him what she wants him to hear. Her behavior tells him what's actually true. And he waits long enough to see the difference. He might take her back. He might not. But whatever he decides from clarity, not relief, not principle, not the current pulling him somewhere. Clarity. And the man who decides from clarity, even if he gets it wrong, does not end up in the same place twice, because he was actually present for the decision. He knows what he chose and why, and that knowledge makes the next decision better than this one. There is a lie in the self-improvement space that nobody names directly. It goes like this: work on yourself, hit the gym, get your money right, become the best version of yourself, and she'll come back. And often, she does come back. The story is true that far, but it stops there. It doesn't tell you that taking her back the moment she texts, from relief, from availability, from the current pulling you back, is the fastest way to destroy everything you built, because what she's attracted to is the version of you that existed without her, the independent version, the version that wasn't organized around her presence. The moment you take her back out of relief, you stop being that version. You become the old version again, just with a better salary and better arms. Self-improvement is not a strategy to get her back. It is the process of becoming a man who makes better decisions than the man who needed her back in the first place. Block 5. If you take her back because you looked at the situation clearly and decided it makes sense. Not because she texted, not because the relief felt like love, not because those 4 months of waiting finally ended. Those are not reasons. Those are the current, and you are not a leaf. So, back to the man who wrote in. Your friends say, take her back. Your gut says something is off. Your friends weren't there. They didn't see what the 4 months cost you. They didn't hear what she said when she left. They're giving you advice from outside a situation they don't have full information about. Your gut has all the information. Your gut was present for every single moment of those 4 months. Listen to your gut, but not blindly. Your gut is also the thing that shook when the text came. Your gut is also capable of confusing relief with love. So listen to it, and then think. Actually think. With everything you know about her, about yourself, about what those 4 months revealed. You didn't collapse, you built something real. You swam upstream when the current was against you. Don't make the decision the man you were 4 months ago would have made. He would have said yes immediately. He would have felt the relief and called it love. He would have been back in the same place in 6 months, wondering what went wrong. You are not that man anymore. The text is sitting there. It's been sitting there. And the amount of time you take before you respond and what you say when you do is the first real proof of whether those 4 months actually changed anything or whether you just got better at waiting. The phone is in your hand. The text is on the screen. And right now, in this exact moment, you are either the salmon or the leaf. Only one of them gets to choose where it goes.